I'm acquiescing to your desire to live stream.
Wow, that's the second time I've heard that word today in a weird way.
Acquiescing?
Yeah. It's there's a weird connection. Oh shit, we're
Acquiescing to your
live.
desire to live stream. There we
Acquiesce
go.
our
Wow, that's
desire.
the second time I've heard that word.
Wait a minute, shut up. There we go. I swear I muted that and then it did it again. I don't know what's going on, Johnny.
I
Hey,
have
what's
no
up?
idea.
What's up, dark judges, desperados, and dudes in dick-shaped helmets? You're listening to Cursed Earth Radio, the one and only podcast bringing dread to the dreadless.
Broadcasting outside the walls of Mega City 1 across the Black Atlantic in North America. I'm Cool Johnny Cool.
And this is Heavy Metal Kid, and we're back with another exciting all-ages prog.
We are... we are acquiescing to your desire for podcast content. So here we are. We're doing Prog 2280, the first regen Prog of 2022. We've got Cadet Dredd and Red Medicine, Lowborn High and Totally Not Harry Potter, Future Shocks with robots and things, The Unteachables with kids and robots and things, and Chopper Goes Boingy Boingy, and my esteemed co-host makes guest appearance in What Goes Up.
What?
Oh, come on.
So it's weird, and this is like, tangential here, but the fact that you said acquiesce,
I did.
You use that term, right?
Yes.
And the only time I ever heard anybody use that in a sentence was when I was watching the original Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
Or Caribbean, as the case may be.
Whichever, depending on what region of the world you're from. It's the difference between wiener and whineer. So
wait. Whineer?
Yeah, isn't that what? That's not how you say it. Mac Anorak says I'm up way past my bedtime on a school night to cover the kitty comic. That's hilarious.
Well, Mac's in there. As soon as you said Mac was in, I automatically assumed we fucked something up already. He was calling us out on it.
Mac's in, Richie's in. Richie got in with the wiener. All of our friends are here. But I was going to say the last time before you tried to tell me how to say Caribbean.
Or Caribbean, as the case may be.
I don't Caribbean. What the fuck? How do you pronounce it? Let me finish my story. So I was listening to the Amber Heard testimony in the Johnny Depp trial, and she said acquiesce. And I was like, wow, that's weird. The only time I've ever heard anyone say that was in Pirates of the Caribbean, or
Caribbean, as the case may be.
And so then you said it today, so I can only guess that you were the reason that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard broke up. You broke up their marriage because there's a connection there.
I pooped the bed. No, it's acquiesce is one of those words that if I don't use, they come and take my degree, my college degree. There's a list of college words that I have to say in a timely fashion, or else they come for me.
Okay, I got you. I don't know how I've maintained this long because somehow they haven't came for me yet. But
I heard nobody comes for you.
Nobody comes before me. That's what it is.
That's a short list.
Oh my God! Listen.
This is the all ages Prog.
Yeah, I know, man. We're talking about the all ages Prog. Chelsea in the chat asked if we can still say wiener. Wow. And then you were talking about coming. So I guess everything's fucking fair game here, man.
Yeah, no one listens to us. If they did, we'd be canceled by now. So that's
true. And hey, the thing that I put out, as far as like
you've been putting that thing out, huh?
The headline that I put out for the all ages Prog today said all ages. Again, but I'll be honest with you. Once again, this doesn't really feel that much like an all ages Prog in some places. We've seen worse. I'll say that right off the bat. The all ages Prog is kind of the thing that we complain about every time it pops up because, hey, we're paying for 2000 AD and we're not getting an extra free all ages Prog. We're getting an all ages Prog jammed into our asses by Tharg. But
is that your chosen delivery method?
Oh, but instead of the app or physical, I'm going with the 2000 AD suppository format.
I missed that tick box when I signed up for the subscription.
So you have to have clearance from your physician to get that version.
Oh.
But no, like I don't know, man. I was a little bummed out this week because we didn't get Pandora Perfect, which should be in the all ages prog all the time. But there were parts of this that didn't necessarily feel like an all ages prog. It's just always my complaint. I'm like, I don't want to read kiddie shit, but I think they've gotten to the place now where they're just like, how about this? We just won't kill people and call it an all ages prog. And I think that's true.
You know, I opened this thing up. I didn't see Jackie Chan. I didn't see Jet Li. I didn't see Bruce Lee. And then I realized it's the all ages prog, not the all Asians prog.
Oh my God, Dad, is that you?
It's a quota. I have to meet the quota. Okay. So
you got a lot of quotas, man.
I keep them all on my RoboCop arcade machine so I can play.
Oh
God, it keeps going. No, this cover I love it. But that robot's got fuck all to do with this frog.
I'll tell you what, the cover's fine looking Judge Dredd cover. But the more interesting thing is that the man who drew the cover's name is Chris Wildgoose. And I'm going to go right ahead and say that's not a real last name. I think he made that up.
Who would make up a name and use a pseudonym to do things in the world like two idiot podcast hosts?
Good point. Good point.
No, like, I will say this blanket statement. I love most of the art in this prog. I was really struck by how good some of this was. And not that 2000 AD doesn't do top flight stuff all the time, but Cadet Dredd, especially. I mean, this is supposed to be Cadet Dredd, and he looks like a cadet man Dredd.
Like, yeah, that's the one thing that hit me right off the bat was like, that's
normally, a whole man.
Yeah, that is. I heard you were a whole man, actually. But
it depends on what day of the week and how my checkbook looks.
This is terrible. This is terrible. No, look. Oh my God. Okay.
Turbo Negro podcast. All of a sudden,
I gotta derail this. The chat, Mac in the chat has said, "Simple faith in the in progress is not a conviction belonging to strength, but one belonging to acquiescence and hence to weakness." And he said the quote is actually by a person named Norbert Wiener. And I'm just going to go ahead and believe that because his facts are never fucking wrong.
Norbert Wiener is now the patron saint of Gross Earth Radio.
Yeah. And actually, as we were talking about our impressions of the all ages prog, there's some support in the prog. Chelsea in the chat said she enjoyed it. And yeah, this one was art wise. This one did not feel like Cadet Dredd. And I got to be honest, I love the art in this, but there was a part of me that's like, but it's Cadet Dredd and it should look like something on Cartoon Network because I'm used to that.
You want to like how he's appeared in the previous all ages progs, which was a good fit. They looked like, 15-year-old cadets, but this Dredd and Rico, they're whole men. They're just growed up ass whooping dudes.
Yeah. I mean, this is a really great, this artwork is really great. You're right. And it's just like, I love the rookie helmets. I've always loved that look and stuff, but there was a part of me that hates the all ages prog that misses the all ages prog artwork. So I don't know where that puts me, but I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about this other than the fact that it's very clear that there's someone here in, again, just fucking fake names all day. And Luke Horseman, who hangs out with Chris Wildgoose. You can't tell me that there's a horseman and a wild goose.
They love a wild goose.
But Chris Horseman, man, if they ever need a dude on the main Dredd or the Dredd magazine, he could fill those shoes. This was great stuff.
I can say personally, I've never seen his art before.
Nope.
But it's great. I love his take on the rookie helmet, where the whole helmet's not white, but the trim is white. I think that's a cool look. They're totally not cadets. They are totally grown ass men in this prog.
Yeah, this is like they hit their growth spurts on the last, like right after the last one, and here they just look like grown ass men. So
this is like the hour before they're on the 24-hour assessment before they go full legal. Yeah, like this right there.
And actually, again, this is one of those where like the only thing separating this from something that could be in Judge Dredd magazine or 2000 AD is the fact that nobody gets their head blown off, because it had everything that a good Dredd one shot would have. And actually, there were two fucking stories this week that I really loved. And this was one, James Peaty on the script, which we've seen before. And it had the perfect little, like, the old school one shot Dredds always have that final line that kind of hammers home the point of the whole thing. And this one was really good at it. I love the story. I guess we should go into a little bit of what the story is in case you're fucking weird and you're listening to the most deep dive podcast of all time without reading the prog. But hey.
Yeah, so we find out that amongst the shitstorm that is Mega City 1, you also can't give away free medical supplies on the streets because that just keeps people healthy and eventually they turn into perps. Because we can't do that.
You do get to see, I'm sorry to break into your this early. I know I'm bad at it anyways, but the fact that you also get to see in this one, really the divergent personalities between Dredd and Rico in terms of like their outlook is really highlighted in this in a cool way.
Yeah. Rico's already on his way to being a bent judge and he sees the hypocrisy of the system, and Joe's kind of got blinders on. Well, it's the law and the law is right and just. And what are you going to do? It's at 50-50 with the Fargo clones.
Yeah. And the, which I don't agree with, by the way, but I know
you just did. You just agreed with me.
No, I just said I don't agree with you on the 50-50 with the Fargo clones. No, that's not how that works. That's determinism. And I don't think I'm down with that. Cause that blows our whole discussion about, oh God, we don't even want to get there. We don't want to go there. Let me say this.
You're going downhill, bud.
So the idea is, they're basically chasing this perp the whole time who was giving out free medical supplies.
What a dick.
Fucking absurd. And then it takes an interesting little twist that I did not see coming. They could have really just kind of like arrested the guy giving the medical supplies and you have your message there. But no, it turns out there's a corrupt judge who's only corrupt because he's helping this guy to give out medical supplies.
But then he didn't want to get fingered. So he's going to go full corrupt and kill this fucker in the hospital bed with an overdose.
Yeah. What a man.
That's a hard turn there at the end there.
It's so complicated, but it's so reflective of what is Mega City 1. And, this judge was trying to do some good, but he's not going to do enough good that he lets himself go away for it. So he's going to kill this guy. And it's just, it's all fucking convoluted. There's no good. There's no evil.
There goes the Hippocratic Oath. But I don't know if med judges have to take the Hippocratic Oath.
I have no idea. This guy certainly didn't. But the big message at the end, and I like really appreciate it. I thought it was the perfect thing. Is finally Dredd's big lesson that he learned, and I think like I want Cadet Dredd to be these little one shots where at the end he learns a lesson like this, and it's like it all goes into a pile of what makes Dredd now. That's why this is perfect for Cadet Dredd. But the last thing he says is, he has to assess, basically, like, his supervising judge Meacham says, what's your verdict? And he says, good medic, bad judge. End of story. And it's like really highlights the fact that the judges are not there to protect and serve. They're not there to help people stay alive.
Nope.
So I thought this was like fucking real clever and real poignant. Maybe one of the best little one shots in any prog in a while. I loved it.
And as we've said a million times on the podcast, the judges exist solely to perpetuate the judges. That's the only reason they're there.
Yeah. And it was very much proven by the fact that he was getting ready to kill off this, because there was some moral reason that he, some little glimmer in the back of this judge's mind that said that, because he's even saying when Dredd's busting him, he's like, you don't get it, kid. You haven't been around long enough to understand how this works. And, Dredd his response at the end, good medic, bad judge, end of story. There is no crossover. There's no enmeshment between those two things. Like,
nope.
At this point in Judge Dredd's life and his understanding of what Mega City is in the law, a judge does not exist to give out medicine or help people. But current day Judge Dredd has changed his outlook a little bit, so we see him struggle more. But at this point, he was 100% sure that this was the right thing and the right assessment.
Oh, he is in and of the system at this point. The blinders are completely on. The system is right. Everybody else is wrong. I'm just stunned. I'm looking at the art again. It is so energetic. It's got so much movement and energy in it. It's got a great style. Joe's built like a brick shithouse, even though he's a cadet. The medic judge has a little Santa Claus helmet going on there.
Yeah, right.
So, no, I love it. And yeah, Joe's he is so early on in this to where, like I said, the blinders are up. The Justice Department is all that is right. Everything else is wrong. Maybe Rico did have it right. Maybe because Rico sees shades of gray. Whereas Joe was completely myopic, and it was just the narrow alley that he lived in for so long.
It's almost as if Rico, Rico saw what it more like right away, the problems that Dredd saw, that it took Dredd 40 years to see. And the difference is Rico chose to exploit those problems for his own good, but Dredd is now struggling. Dredd's that guy that is always sitting here going like, wait a minute, I'm the fucking bad guy? Like,
it never crosses his mind.
And I can really relate to that because there's definitely been scenarios in my life where I had to go, whoa, wait.
I'm the
asshole. Yeah. What the fuck? How did I get here? And I feel like that's just Dredd currently.
His progress is just, an iceberg crossing the ocean. It takes for fucking ever.
Yeah.
But when it gets there, it gets there.
It's I was recently re-looking at the stages of change for human behavior, and it applies to addiction a lot, but just in general. And you've got all these stages, pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, and all this stuff. And it's like, I feel like Joe spent all the way up until Necropolis in pre-contemplation, where he had no fucking idea that there was anything wrong. And then post Necropolis, he spent from then till now in contemplation, and we still haven't seen much action except, and I keep going back to the thing with Maitland, where he
carried the 9.
Yeah, like that. I feel like that was a real significant thing for Joe. Like that was his big significant move towards action.
Yeah, it's slow coming, but when it happens, it's a big move.
Yes. So this was great. This is the best thing in this prog, in my opinion. I mean, and I guess it should be, it's the Dredd, but there was some other good stuff in here too, but this was cool. And it was like that final panel is so important in a Dredd one shot. Like that's the most important panel, because that's where you got to deliver your little like zinger. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be a little joke like they used to do, but sometimes it can be something that's poignant. And this was real poignant. I
hope we get to see Luke Horseman take over the pencils in a mainline prog, because dude's definitely got the chops.
Yeah. It's a different style for the all ages prog, and maybe it's kind of like the all ages prog is kind of the test ground for some of this stuff. It certainly was for Department K. It was like, let's give it a shot in the all ages prog, because half of the people who are subscribed refuse to read it. So if it's bad, they won't get too upset.
It's supposed to be the rookie judges, and they're supposed to be like 15. But the way Luke has drawn Joe, it's awesome, but his stature and size in this prog is equivalent to the Steve Buscemi meme where he's trying to be a teenager.
Hello, fellow kids. Yeah.
Just blending right in there, Joe.
Yeah, cadet, middle-aged Joe Dredd. Yeah.
So we got not Harry Potter and Lowborn High.
Yeah, man. What did you think of Lowborn High? What did you think of this?
So story didn't really grab me. It's fine. It's not. I am definitely not the demographic they're trying to get. I'm already a grumpy old man that gets the prog, so they're not aiming at me whatsoever. I will say this: the art is awesome. The art is fantastic. It's got a lot of personality. It's well colored, well rendered. Story, yeah, I don't care.
I kept trying to figure out. If this was, because it really rides the line for me. Where is this trying to basically, without saying it, say that like this is the other side of the Harry Potter universe, and like we know that it's not, but it's like the analog Harry Potter universe, and this is like, you know, the other school is Hogwarts, but that's where all the fucking privileged kids go, and this is the other side. Like, was that the concept, or is the writing team behind this just going to pretend like we just came up with this cool idea? I don't think, right? I feel like the idea is like there was a premise somewhere where somebody goes, hey, you know what would be interesting if, like, you know, you got the high end prep school where all these, you know, privileged little fucks go and fly around on brooms. Then across the fucking across the town, you know, there are these there's the fucking place where there's a bunch of John Benders who are wizards, and that's exciting. And so for that, I like this, and I certainly appreciate that the artwork was a little more on the like Vampire Hunter D level than some sort of chibi bullshit or Harry Potter kitty bullshit. Like, I definitely think they made the right decision there.
Yeah, it's definitely got the Amano vibe. He was the artist behind the initial Vampire Hunter D concepts. You've probably seen a lot of his stuff from the Final Fantasy series. Yeah, it definitely has that flowing, organic Amano vibe. And like I said, I like it. I've already got Harry Potter, and I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but it's okay. But once again, not the target demographic for that either. So I don't need the mockbuster equivalent in my life.
See, and that's the thing. I think I read it, and maybe, you know, wrongly, but I went into it not seeing this as like the mockbuster Harry Potter, but as almost being the like, you like, yo, Harry Potter's a fucking pussy. Let me take you across town and show you the real kids. And I kind of like that. I like that idea that kind of what we're seeing here are like, you know, it's like what's that movie that came out back in the day where with the Coolio song?
Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds. It's like
Yes.
a Dangerous Minds of Harry Potter. And so for that, I liked it, and they did charm me quite a bit with the multiplier imp, who's the cutest fucking demon I've ever seen. I really liked him. I think the main character is a fucking cock. So, you know, we definitely have to get to the point where we start to see him, you know, move from being a little dickhead. And I mean, he should be right now because he's a privileged rich kid that got, you know, stuck over here in the poor kids school. But I did like this more than I thought. I as soon as I saw that first page, man, you know, I flip over and I see the castle, and immediately I had the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, all that bullshit that I really don't like, and I don't like that vibe, and so I immediately didn't like this. And then when I started to see that maybe the person writing this was like, yeah, man, Harry Potter's a fucking sissy. Like, let's see the real shit. Let's go to this place where they don't have a sorting hat. You know, they barely even have enough school books to go around. So I don't know. It's kind of cool.
It's the 8 Mile of the Wizarding World.
It is. And for that, I respect it and I like it. If this had I hate to pick on them again, but they don't listen and they don't care. If this had the Survival Geek style of art, I would have been out right away. But I was like, I don't know, man, the tone of the character design, you know, it's like, it's a little bit less cartoony than something like a Harry Potterish thing would be. So I think, I don't know, I feel like they walked a really good line here. And I liked what I saw. Would I like rush out to read this if this were in trade paperback form? I don't think so, but I can hang with this and see where it goes because it's kind of interesting. So,
well,
and now
you're gonna get your chance.
Yeah. And at the end, he fucking he joins up with the even more outcast group. outcasts of the group. So
this is an analog for us and our podcast listeners.
yeah, yeah, certainly. They all just hang out and say wiener.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, art's great. I just not knocking the story. It just didn't grab me because not. But yeah, for what it is, it's good.
And maybe I'm also a little bit more likely to appreciate this week because somebody just brought up to me this manga that's an online manga called SSS Class Suicide Hunter. And I've been reading that and found it really, really good and really interesting. And like, it's one of those, I guess it's like a thing that's not in like a, it's not in like physical form, which is weird for me because I usually like to read something that is like complete, but it's still ongoing. But I've been reading that, and I feel like that was the easy start tip for me on this.
It's pronounced manga. You plebeian.
Yeah, right. Well, welcome to the fucking grammar police, the fucking literacy police.
I was being a weeb.
Yeah. So yeah, and apparently there's a whole element of this. Your ADHD is off the charts today.
I am just fucking my brain is a squirrel on Adderall, and it's
you're happy. You're just like happy not to have a migraine this week, I think, which you didn't even mention last week, but you were struggling last week. So,
dude, I almost took a $500 trip to the ER at 4 a.m. because I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, do I lay here and die, or do I go to the ER, pay $500 for them to tell me all you can do is die?
Yeah, right. And that's the dedication we have, by the way. But Max says here in the UK, it'd be Harry Potter at Grange Hill. Which is a 70s/80s TV show set in a rough inner London school. So that's a whole, different thing that maybe we weren't thinking of. Over here, it's definitely Dangerous Minds or everybody's hanging out with John Bender at, and I'm sure. I can't imagine that anywhere in the world, any country, even the countries that don't have televisions, don't have John Hughes movies. So everybody knows what I'm talking about there. But yeah, I didn't hate this. I didn't hate it. And
I'm surprised. I honestly thought you were going to grumble about this, but
I wanted to hate it. I
kind of figured you would have.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised you're reading a manga.
Yeah, me too. But
I don't know how we got here.
Somebody really, the way they pitched it to me was really intriguing. And I would definitely recommend if somebody's, I can't say if you like manga, see, I fixed it. I can't say if you like it that you should go read it because I don't know, but I will say
Wiener.
It's really, really interesting. I mean, obviously the title SSS Class Suicide Hunter made me want to go check it out, but the story is something kind of cool and meta and different, and yeah, interesting. I didn't know there's a whole genre of like tower themed literature out there, and I guess there is.
Dude, I don't know what happened to anime and manga in the interim because I grew up in the 80s during the initial explosion of anime. That's how I found about Fist of the North Star, Vampire Hunter D, Violence Jack, Crying Freeman. When anime was coming up in the 80s, it was just giant dudes hitting each other so hard they fucking exploded into clouds of blood. Yeah. And there was just unnecessary profanity. And somewhere in the mid 90s, the culture changed. I drifted away and I came back when I discovered Berserk, and that was the exception to the rule. Now the whole landscape had changed, and it's talking cat people and complex high school love, hexagons and shit. And I'm like, what? I don't have any frame of reference. No one's hitting anybody. No one's exploding. What the fuck even is this?
The drummer for one of the bands that I'm in messaged me not long ago, and he goes, and I think this is the title. It's something like this, but he goes, hey, I just read a manga that I think you would like, and I was like, oh yeah. And he says, it's called An Incredibly Handsome Gorilla, and
it's on brand.
Yeah, I was like, okay, where can I buy it? And he was like, oh, it's not for sale in physical form yet. And seems to be a thing that I'm realizing. Like, there's a lot of web comics, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man? put this into a physical form so I can go read this and hold it in my hand. And I definitely want to own an incredibly handsome gorilla. I mean, for God's sake.
I mean, I wonder if you know Six Gun Gorilla.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great one, man. Oh my gosh. So yeah, sorry for that little tangent, but yeah, I've been reading that SSS Class Suicide Hunter. It's really, really cool. Really interesting. Very similar style of art.
Does anybody get punched so hard they explode?
I think that's an element of this in some ways. Yes, definitely.
Okay, because that you got me there.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that in there. Not to that insane degree, but it's coming, I think. What'd you think of our Future Shock this week?
It ended with an Andrew WK quote, so that was fun. No, I once again, art's on point. Art's great, but it just, it kind of is what it is. It didn't. I felt ambivalent to the story, but I like the art.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like this one might have been hampered by the fact that it had to be in an all ages quote, because had this been maybe in like, I don't know, just like a standard 2000 AD, would we have seen that this little vacuum cleaner thing was the precursor to something that causes a nuclear holocaust?
Yeah, that's exactly how it would have ended.
Yeah.
This would have been the prequel to what was it, Shriek, that Hardware was based on.
Oh yeah.
That would have been like the genesis of that thing. But no, here they just ride off into the sunset and they party, which is all any of us really wants to do.
Right. It's the thing that we always, every once in a while, wish would happen in a 2000 AD because it's so grim. But then when it does, we're like, fuck that.
God damn it.
So, I don't know. Like, I liked the premise, and I think it maybe lost me at the ending. But I mean, what am I looking for here? We basically got the exact ending that I want from this last week with a bunch of rats, and I wasn't happy with that either. So
yeah, I know you're kind of Future Shock's usually on your thing.
Yeah,
but my favorite, and I said it a million times in the podcast, my favorite story I ever read in 2000 AD was a Future Shock. Yeah. And they got it right. And we've read some where they've totally missed the mark. You're like, oh, but that's what we expected the ending to be. You're supposed to subvert our expectations. Yeah. Throw us a fucking curveball, but you did exactly what you were supposed to. Yeah, this one's just kind of, look, they're going to party. Okay.
And you know what? I guess in that description, I really, really can say that this subverted my expectations, because I did not expect the vacuum cleaner and the doggy to run away together. So maybe it did its job. And man, we do have to fulfill our destiny and get your daughter on here to tell us what she thinks about the all ages Prog.
Yeah, she's asleep right now. She's not. Unfortunately, she's not feeling good.
Well, I don't mean right now. I just mean at some point.
I would have to get her to sit down and read it first. And if it's not, she's way into this kids series called Wings of Fire. It's graphic novels. It's actual novels, all based on clans of dragons. And that's her jam right now. So I would have to get her to put down her normal reading schedule to fit us in. So,
well, just tell her it's the law. So let's move on to the next story, which
the Unteachables.
Yes,
it was a thing. Apparently, a thing we should have had prior knowledge of, because there's a Tharg note or a Joko note.
Yeah, Joko. It was interesting. Like, I don't know. Did this conflict in any way with you, with having one story about a school and then another story about a school? I was like, this is too much for me. I feel like it's an all ages Prog now. We're just normal kids in school.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid in school, I sure as shit didn't want to read comic books about other kids in school. I can be in school. That's the thing I can do. I want my comic books to be fantastical. I want to do, it's like people who get all hopped up on playing Madden, the game. And I'm like, I mean, that's great that you're into video games, but wouldn't you want to do something you can't ever do in real life in a video game instead of do something you could go outside and do in a video game?
Dude, let's be honest though. Many people who play video games could not walk 5 feet without being out of breath. So in some ways,
But
I'm putting myself in that category. I'm not physically fit.
But those are the folks playing like fucking RPGs and being elves and magical wood nymphs. It's the dude bros. You could go outside and throw a football, man. You could do that. It's totally a thing you could do. I don't get it.
I agree. You can, but you can't throw a football and be successful at it. And maybe that's what it's about. Just like the dating sims. Hell, anybody can go on a date, but to be successful at one, maybe that is the fantasy there. I don't know.
Well, that's why I always liked NFL Blitz over like Madden, because I could fucking just go bonkers in the NFL Blitz and murder people, and it's still kind of football. Or Mutant Football League, that's where you could bribe the ref and kill the quarterback.
Yeah, Games Workshop gave us Blood Bowl for that. Yeah, for sure.
If you're going to make a video game adaptation of a thing, zhuzh it up a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can say anything because I was playing a game called Space Hulk Tactics, which is the Space Hulk board game in video game form. And my wife was like, "Are you basically just playing a board game?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "That's dumb."
but you don't have to pay $500 for said board game. You don't have to buy paint your miniatures. You don't have to buy all these legions. You don't have to.
You don't have to buy legions for Space Hulk. You don't. It's only $500 when it's been out of print for a few years, like I think it has now.
But you still got to buy Terminator squads, and you need Gene Stealer miniatures.
No, they come with the game. You don't have to buy anymore, bro. No,
don't bro me. Don't bro me.
No, listen, let's just play some Madden and fucking see who wins.
Anyway, yeah. So a comic book about a thing that I can do. Yeah, no.
I mean, and let's we got to give it its due, though. I mean, it's the most fantastical school ever.
Oh yeah,
there's a cyborg. There's all kinds of weirdness.
A homicidal truant robot. There's a
yeah.
It's like Professor X's discounted school for the mildly gifted.
It's like for me, this was just one that I guess I was not aware that had been running. And it's, this is a little Mary Poppins-ish in some ways, like Mary Poppins, the fucking Mad Max version, maybe, or, this is probably a little bit more Dangerous Minds actually than the other one, this is kind of a little bit more on that level, but I connected with this one less. And this was the one out of the group that I thought, you know what, maybe a kid would actually dig this more. Like, I feel like maybe this is not something that generalizes over very well to an adult. And in the chat, we've got, we hear you loud and clear that in the UK, they kick footballs with, their feet. Mac Anorex says, I don't know how we got here with calling it football either. It should be called throw ball, but yeah.
Or egg ball, because it looks like an egg. It's really dumb. But we're a continent that makes a habit of being really dumb. So bear with us.
Yeah. Keep listening.
I thought maybe, is this like the precursor to Kids Rule OK? Which is
I don't know.
One of the weirdest and most British names for a comic book story ever.
Yeah, their little tagline. Yeah. I don't know. But it ended.
It sure did. But it'll be back, and we'll go, oh, that's right. We forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I did think, I was like, man, of all the stuff in the Prog this week, I feel like this is maybe one of the all ages ones that really, really hits the all ages thing. And even it's not that far off from a Pandora Perfecty kind of vibe, but
definitely has that vibe in the art. I thought maybe it was like a British Archie and Jughead kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're just getting to know these kids, and by the time we come back to the next All Ages Prog, we'll have completely forgotten what their personalities are like, so we'll start all over again.
Because we're old, and, the Alzheimer's is going to kick in here any day now. Any day.
Yep. I don't like Chopper, but I love this story, and I thought this was great.
Do you not like Chopper because his segments took way too long on Oz?
Yeah, I think so, man.
It could have been more murderous Easter eggs.
Dude, it is without a doubt. We sometimes we say something like Brink. You really, it flourishes when you read it as a whole. Something like Oz flourishes when you read it in little chunks. Because when we were going through that, I got so fucking sick of seeing Chopper pop back up anytime. A lot of those old ones, man. Like, and now when I see Chopper pop up, I'm like, dude, I don't have a connection to Chopper. I think he sucks as a character. I just don't care. But you know what? In this, I liked Chopper more than I ever have. And I think you're right. I just have a bad sort of vibe with Chopper because he took time away from me getting to see the fucking Jutta.
Well, in Chop's defense, and I don't know, I don't think any of the listeners that are with us right now know this, but Oz, was that the first or second episode? It was the second episode we did, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
And
yeah.
We fucking lost the episode, and the first one was 3 fucking hours, and we had to re-record it, so it was double trauma.
Yeah, because back in the day, and you can go on this YouTube page, we had a very different format where we basically went panel for panel
with notes and shit.
There's something to be said for that, you know, but we couldn't keep it up, and I think that was part of what crushed us.
That was not our voice at all.
Yeah. We it would have been something I would love to hear someone else do that.
Not us, listen,
but not us, man. Yeah, it didn't work. Yeah,
that the first maybe 10 episodes is just us. You know, it's like when you have sex for the first time and you're just fucking trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And
yeah,
okay, I gotta ask before I do that. All right, nope, that's not working. That doesn't feel good. And at some point we hit our stride. I don't know where the switch flipped, but I genuinely believe that it's when we stopped giving a fuck.
Sorry.
You're back on the doesn't feel good.
I'm just imagining that's what, you know, the sound that comes out of your bedroom every night. Nope, doesn't feel good. Nope, doesn't feel good.
When you're 20 some years in, it gets very pragmatic. It's like you've been going to the same grocery store now for 20 years. You know exactly where the shit is that you want. You go right to it. You don't fuck around.
I know. And see, in my mind though, you're in there and all those noises are coming out, and then your wife yells, "I'll be up in a few minutes, honey." You in there by yourself.
You know, in the winter, you got to start the car yourself sometimes. You know, you got to warm up. And when you have a kid and they're sleeping in their room down the hall, and you got your door locked, but the cats are scratching to get in the door, it's a whole fucking thing, dude. You don't have to. There's fucking parameters we got to deal with, and sometimes you just got to get in and get out.
Yeah.
Look, is this where the sale is? Because I have a coupon. All right, good.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God, what a perspective! I love it. This was great. And Chelsea says, all I could think of was how funny it would be to see the dark judges and giant boing balls. Hey, all you got to do is go back in time, man. We've been there in Judge Dredd, unfortunately.
Yeah, that really knocked their fucking teeth out. Is like once it became Ghostbusters, where once you got them to fart ghost out of the host body, you just boinged them and it was over.
Yeah. And once again, we go back to your sex life. So look,
hey man, I ain't here to impress none of you motherfuckers.
I did think that this was really great, and I love that it was 2 parts. Almost kind of like, you know, the first part was that they're in this like Boeing park, and that's really super cool. But the weird twist that it took at the end when with these Boingers getting abducted, I didn't think we were going to get that part of the story.
No, I didn't know what the hell, like where the conclusion of this was going. But you showed up in your comic book form. You got 2 heavy metal kids there.
Right.
But no, Nick Roche on the art, I fucking love the art. It's got so much personality, so much energy. I love his take on the judge, Watanabe.
Oh, so amazing.
But it's I've never really seen a judge drawn in this style, but I love it. That's the cool thing about all ages progs, is that you get to see these artists that maybe you don't see a lot in the progs, or if you're not reading the magazine, but they get a shot. And I fucking love it. Every strip or every story in this prog has perfect art for it.
Yeah, and the writing in this one, and it's David Barnett. I wanted to make sure that I called it out there, because the art or the story in this one was like dead on. And here's how you know, because, you know, as I'm reading through, and Judge Wannabe shows up. You know, he comes looming into the frame, and he's like, you know, I am the law, is what I am. And I was like, what the fuck is this weird, like awkward writing of Dredd? And then you're like, oh no, it's a Dredd wannabe. And I was like, wow, like they conveyed that so well in one panel that you read it and you're like, who's this fucking dork? And it was like, does this person not understand how, you know, like how Dredd works? No, they completely understand how Dredd works. And this guy is a Dredd clone. I love it.
Yeah, and when he shows up, it's got so much personality. Like, I love the art. I'd love to have. I'm guessing most artists work digitally now completely, but I would love to have the pencils of this because it's such a unique take on the judges. It's like we've talked about it before on the podcast. Like, once you've been in long enough, you can ID the artist just by how they render the helmet. Like everybody, it's like Batman and the ears. You can tell who's drawing it by the length of the ears on the cow.
Yeah. Oh man, R.I.P. Neil Adams, by the way.
Yeah, man, that broke my heart too, because Neil was almost single-handedly responsible for saving Batman in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, the comic was in the doldrums, and it was still kind of coming out from underneath the shadow of Batman 66, and Neil's art came in and gave it real gravitas and made it dark and gritty again and gave him a new lease on life. So yeah, Neil's huge talent that's going to be sorely missed.
Yeah. But this Prog, or this final story, like the place where it takes the weirdest fucking turn. And I love how they vanquish Judge Wannabe by just basically like the kid's just going to stay up there. And he's like, well, fuck. He tries to pull. It's great because he keeps trying to pull Dredd moves. He's like, all right, you know,
what
fucking
goes
high
up must
heck.
come down. And
yeah.
Just those two awkward panels of him just standing there staring, waiting. I love it.
10 minutes later, he just fucking rolls out. I love it so much.
He so wanted that Joe moment, and he was denied. So he had to put his pride in his saddlebag and fucking ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. I want to see this guy come back. I want to see this guy show up again in another Prog somewhere, because I feel like this is a character that we're going to remember for a while, and he deserves more time in the sun. He deserves to come back. If Chopper, the story keeps coming back, and that's the Judge that kind of that's his beat where Chopper, young Chopper hangs out, that's cool, because I could definitely use with more of that Judge. But then the real fucking weird twist at the end of all these Boinger kids keep disappearing, and they're being abducted into a game of Sentinel marbles.
I fucking love it because the mob is doing it, and somebody's trying to place a bet, and the mobster just lays everything out in all this exposition. And she goes, wow, yeah, thanks for all the exposition, bud. Yeah. The guy, he was trying to have his comic book moment. And she's like, yeah, just, okay, I get it. Here, take my money.
Yeah. This was cool, man. It's just like, I was surprised that we went there like so late in the story. And I was like, man, how are they going to wrap this up? And in true 2000 AD fashion, they were like, yeah, we're going to wrap it up in like one page. Here you go. Here's the idea. We don't need to spend any more time on it. And it's over.
Universal monster ending, and sometimes it works.
Yeah. And it definitely worked in this. And it made me really, really want to go back and because I know there's been other young Chopper stuff, right? It makes me want to go back and reread those, because I think maybe at that point, maybe I was, I don't know, so anti all ages Prog that I didn't give it a chance. I don't know.
Those first 2 or 3 we did, it was the bane of your existence.
Yeah. I was really, really not having it, but this was good.
I still stand by our gripe. Fine with doing the all ages, but please do not put it in place of my normal Prog.
Yeah.
Because you did the sci-fi special, you did Smash and Shock specials. Just make this an addendum to the Prog for that week. Quit. We'd be more open to it if you would quit taking away the thing that we're here for.
And I think we say it like every week too, or every time we do this too, is just like, is the reason that they don't charge extra for the all ages prog because their fear is that they're not going to sell any? And if that's the case, then why even make it a thing? Like, man, if we would have gotten, and maybe this is my bias, but if we had gotten like Shock or the Sci-Fi special or any of that stuff as a freebie, we would be fucking pumped. Even if it took the place of like, hey, we don't get a prog this week, but we get Shock. Like, that's a cool, like a cool extra bonus. I think a lot of readers end up feeling like, and sometimes it's not true, but it ends up feeling like we're getting Kitty Dredd. They're doing better though. Like, again, like this Dredd, this first story definitely didn't feel like Kitty Dredd. It just felt like Cadet Dredd. And I like the vibe of Cadet Dredd. So maybe it's about trying to figure out like what is a perfect balance for an all ages prog. This was a pretty good balance. I didn't love all the stories, but I also really did feel like, with that, other than maybe that one story, like you can go out of this just feeling like it's a regular 2000 AD.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with the exception of no one got their head blown off.
Yeah.
or the Future Shock ending not in a complete catastrophe. But yeah.
Yeah. Total, best story of the prog was probably the first one, or my favorite, but very close tie with the Chopper story. So we get good bookends, and really everything in the middle wasn't bad. Even the story that wasn't to either of our liking. Again, like there was nothing bad about it, nothing offensive. It just wasn't something that grabbed me or you.
Yeah,
I think.
well, and I think we're both painfully aware that we are not the target demographic for this adventure in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I understand they've got to keep new readers coming in, or else this all goes away. I get that, but can we get our normal prog along with? Because we're stalling out here. I got stuff I want to read. I want to know what weirdness is happening in Brink. Oh.
Yeah. We need to go back. We need to see what kind of weird sex cult is happening in the Undercity or the inner city, whatever it is of Brink. So yeah,
we'll go with that.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a good prog, man. Overall, I'm glad that they've started to push it a little bit more towards like all ages being the operative word and not kiddie prog.
Yeah. I do think those first ones we did when we were doing the podcast definitely kiltered more towards the let's get the tweens into 2000 AD. Yeah. And now we're just like, all right, we're gonna go with a slightly middle school take on it. So we're not, super kiddie like we were in those first couple.
Yeah, because that is the struggle of 2000 AD, man. Like, it's not as accessible as something like you can go buy a Spider-Man comic for your little kid. Like, if you go get them a police procedural, even if it's not gory, they're going to be like, I don't want to read this, But if you give your kid Guatemala, man, they cut that fucking kid's dick off,
What a way to start a podcast.
Yeah. And that's a good point. And they actually advertised this, but Mac in the chat said the ultimate, aim is to sell the collected editions, but rather than just publish the stories, in that to begin with, they squeeze them in, which is kind of, it's like, trying to get a little scratch out of the thing. But yeah.
You're scratching your thing.
I even seeing the collected works, seeing the advertisement for those, the collected all ages regen progs. There's a part of me that wants to own those, and maybe it's just I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the fact that we resent them for being here. Because I look at the artwork on those, and I'm like, man, I do like that artwork. And there were some good stories. And Pandora Perfect is one of the best things.
Department K, which we shouldn't like, that came out of there. And it honestly does feel like it's a training ground for the new artists. Are we going to let you want to do the prog, huh? All right, well, let's see how you fare on the all ages, and I think that's a good system, putting them in there and getting the field test and then moving them over to the main prog. So there are a lot of good benefits to it, but our big gripe will always be, but yeah, I mean, it's cool and all, but you're in the way of our prog.
Yeah.
And if we have to go 2 weeks in between, we're going to forget stuff because we're not good at remembering.
Yeah. And that being pretty much the end of our show, I think we can say we'll be back next week, same time, right?
That's up to you, bud. That's your call.
All right.
Although we are going to have to figure out June because you're going to go off on tour, and I don't want to disappear again for another month.
True. And I've been thinking about that. The realistic nature of that is maybe we get Chelsea to come in and take over co-host duties. I don't know. That might be the thing.
But you do all the uploading and the live streaming on your end.
I know, and that's a problem. But yeah, I'm gonna try not to disappear when I head out on tour. We'll see. Tour life is like it's you never know when you're gonna have Wi-Fi. That's for sure.
This is HMK coming at you from Love's Truck Stop here and wherever the fuck we are.
It's always a shitty bathroom somewhere. That's always.
You know what? That's the best place for us to podcast from, and that's actually the best place to listen to our podcast.
So, well, let's go ahead and fucking flush this thing and get out of here. Thanks to everybody who's been in the chat supporting us. Chelsea, Richie, and Mac been giving us lots of hilarious shit and informative shit. Like now we know who Norbert Wiener is.
The patron saint of Cursed Earth Radio.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, man, thanks to everybody for being part of it as always. And I guess there's only one thing left for Johnny to say here.
It's time for a nice, neat